try to do this as best as I possibly can with a couple kids running around. The first thing when making a good steak is you got to have a good bottle of wine. Yeah, okay, Amy. So I'll start opening that now. As far as the meat, what you want to do right away is you want to take this out probably about an hour or two before you actually start eating it. And the reason being is you want to bring the meat up to room temperature. Many people throw a cold steak on a barbecue or in the oven or something like that, and it's just not good. So you want to get it to room temperature. And you don't want to go crazy with your seasonings, because that's never good. Because then you're getting the flavor of the seasonings as opposed to the meat. And you really want to get the flavor of the meat, especially when you buy a decent piece of meat. So what I've done is I've opened this up about an hour ago, and gonna just season this up here. Now, what I like to do to season it, real simple: salt, pepper, and a little olive oil. Okay, one thing, do not take a fork and pierce your meat. There's a lot of people that do that to tenderize it, and what they're doing is they're putting a lot of holes in it. So when it starts cooking, the juices will escape. Just rub a little oil on there, some ground sea salt, best. A little liberal with that. Now I like using the multiple peppercorns. They've got the different flavors, different colors. I don't know, that's good. Pat that down a little bit, flip it over, touch more oil, rub that nice. So, by the way, if you're wondering, this is a ribeye, and Rodney Strong. But that's the main thing as far as seasoning. I don't like to go crazy. If you're going to marinate, I don't recommend marinating in the fridge. What you want to do is marinate it in a like one of the gallon bags, and then at that point in time, do about half full of your marinade. Something simple, maybe a little bit of wine, a little olive oil, some spices, maybe an Asian flair to it, maybe some soy sauce or some ginger, something like that. It's pretty good. And again, bring it up to room temperature and marinate it outside, or not outside, but not in the fridge. So anyway, and then marinate it for about a half hour on one side, and then flip it over and marinate it for about a half hour on the other side, and that should be good. Now, as far as let's throw this on the barbecue. One of the tools needed. You okay, Amy? There's the other one. One of the tools needed. Where is it? Many people, by the way, when they're cooking, they use big forks for steak. Tongs, that's the answer. So let's go out to the barbecue and get this baby cooking. Okay, everyone, I started the barbecue up here a little bit ago. Now, what I've done is I've got one side of the barbecue very hot, all the way up, and the other side about halfway. And here's another tip for you. When you throw on the piece of meat, you're going to want to sear each side very quickly, about a minute a pop. So throw that bad boy right on there. Shut this down and wait for about a minute. All right, well, it's been just about a minute. Let's flip this over and just a little bit underneath. Then on a different part of the grill now, put that back on the sear. Very important, because what you're doing is you're locking in the flavors on the outside, so you're not going to have a lot of the juices escape. And what that'll do is it'll help the actual cooking of the meat. And also when you cut into it, see, a lot of times what'll happen is people just throw on the meat and they'll let it sit for a couple minutes and then they'll flip it. And what'll happen is that you'll get, it'll start cooking through the steak, and then when you flip it, it'll cook to the other side. Well, when you sear it quickly on each side, and then you cook it slowly on the cooler side of the grill, for a few minutes on each side. When you cut into it, you'll see that you have far more of the tender redness, which I like to cook at medium rare, more like medium rare to medium, and you'll just have a lot juicier steak. Many people don't care. Many people just throw it on and they just, you know, cook it to death, which is definitely a no-no, especially with a good piece of meat. So it's been about a minute. Now what I'll do is I'll just take it, I'll stand it up on one end here. And again, if obviously I'm working many, I'll, you know, do that. But, you know, I hope everything's going well for you. Hope you're having a good 4th. I'll be sending this out before the 4th, so I want to wish everybody a good, happy 4th of July. If you're into blowing stuff up, I hope that goes well for you. Don't lose any fingers. That happened to me once. Actually did that to my son the other day, and he freaked out. He said, "No, what happened to Dad's finger?" That fun stuff when they're kids. You can get away with stuff like that. I still remember my father told me he swallowed a golf ball, and I believed him until I was maybe like 10. I would have still believed him if he didn't tell me he was lying. So anyway, now what I do is got that opening up a little bit there. Put it back in there. Okay. Take that, put that on the cooler side now. I'm going to shut this off completely. And then now what I'll do is I will time this. This is probably about 1.5 inches or so. I will time it to roughly about 4 minutes per inch. So it's a little bit more. Be careful you don't burn yourself on the grill too. I normally let it go about 5 minutes or so, or I'll let this one go for about 5 minutes. I usually go about 4 minutes per inch. And that usually gives me a pretty good doneness of a little bit more than medium rare, and you know, so good hot steak center is what I'm doing. So, come on back.